Hey everyone, and welcome to the deep dive. We're going to do something a little different today.
Yeah, this was pretty cool.
So we're going to dive into Regus UK's head office.
Interesting stuff.
Now, this isn't just like any office building, right?
No, not at all.
They're doing some really interesting things with what they call flexible workspaces.
Right.
We've got some great source material here.
Yeah, some insider info.
That really reveals what makes this place tick.
Totally.
You know, for anyone who's interested in the future of work,
Absolutely.
like how we're all going to be working in the next few years, this is a really good example.
It is.
And the thing that really jumps out is that Regus isn't just about desks and chairs.
Yeah, they've created this whole ecosystem,
Oh, wow. Okay.
designed for like the modern professional.
Okay. So for someone like me, juggling a million things,
Yeah.
deadlines, working from all over the place.
Exactly.
So flexible workspace is the key phrase here.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, I'm not sure I fully grasp what that actually means in practice.
Well, think about it. Regus understands that work doesn't look the same for everyone anymore.
Right.
Some people need a private office. Some people want to be in a team. Some people want to be around a lot of other people.
Oh, I see.
So they have all those options for
Oh,
you.
interesting. Okay.
You can have a private office for quiet time. You can have customizable spaces for your team. You can even have co-working areas.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to be more social, collaborative.
Uh-huh.
They even have day offices. So you can just drop in if you need a workspace for the day.
See, this is what I love about these deep dives. I'm already learning.
Good, good.
So it's not just one size fits all.
Not at all.
They've really thought about all the different ways people work these days.
Absolutely.
But hold on a sec. If I'm constantly switching between all these spaces, wouldn't that be a logistical nightmare?
Not at all. That's the beauty of it. Everything's ready to go from day one.
Really?
High-speed internet, furniture, you name it, all set up.
Okay.
No matter what space you choose, you just walk in and start working.
Now that's impressive. No more fighting with the IT setup or waiting for the internet guy to show up. So the source material mentions a lot about design.
Yeah, they went all out.
And it seems like they're really going for the wow factor with this head office.
It's not your typical corporate office, that's for sure.
Right.
Lots of natural light, open spaces, airy, even using sustainable materials.
So they're following the trends in workspace design, but kind of taking it up a notch.
Exactly.
I gotta ask, though, is all this just about aesthetics? Or does it actually impact the people who work there?
There's a lot of research, actually, that shows things like natural light boost creativity and productivity.
Interesting.
Open spaces can encourage collaboration, better communication.
Okay.
Plus, let's be honest, wouldn't you rather work in a nice space?
Absolutely. I would much rather brainstorm in a sunny room with comfy chairs than being hunched over a laptop in some dingy cubicle.
For sure.
Speaking of collaboration, the source material really emphasizes the community aspect at Regus.
Yeah, it's a big part of their philosophy.
It's like they're trying to build a little society in there.
They put a lot of thought into it, more than you might think. They want to foster that sense of belonging, shared purpose.
Oh, interesting.
Which is great for networking, sharing knowledge, even personal growth.
So it's not just about getting work done, it's about connecting with others, expanding your horizons.
Yeah.
So they have like regular meetups.
Yeah, regular community meetups, industry-specific workshops, even just informal coffee mornings.
Wow, that's really cool.
Like a built-in network for everyone who works there. You could be sitting next to your next business partner.
Oh, I like that. It's not just an office, it's like a launch pad for new ideas,
Exactly.
new connections. But couldn't all that socializing become a distraction?
That's a valid point.
I mean, some people, myself included, need some quiet time to focus.
They've got you covered. It's all about choice, remember. So they offer dedicated quiet spaces, as well as the collaborative ones.
Oh, okay.
They even have state-of-the-art meeting rooms, perfect for team projects, client presentations.
And these meeting rooms have all the latest tech, I'm guessing.
Absolutely. Top-of-the-line technology.
Okay, so they've got the spaces, but what about the tech itself? Seems like that's just as important as desks and chairs these days.
Couldn't agree more. Reliable, high-speed internet, strong IT support, non-negotiables in today's world.
Especially for someone like me who needs to be connected and productive 24/7.
Exactly.
So no more internet blackouts or tech headaches.
Nope.
Sign me up. And the source material mentions smart office features. What does that even mean?
Imagine walking into a meeting room. The lights adjust automatically.
Oh, okay.
You need to book a room last minute. No problem. You just do it from your phone.
That does sound pretty slick, like the office is working for you, not the other way around.
That's the idea.
But all this sounds pretty high-tech, futuristic. What about someone who's not exactly a tech whiz? Can they handle all this?
That's where their commitment to customer support really shines.
They're not just answering basic questions, I take it.
They go above and beyond to make sure you feel comfortable, supported.
That's good, because what if I accidentally, turn off all the lights with my phone?
Aha. They'll help you out.
Yeah.
They offer reception services, mail handling, telephone answering, all sorts of things. You name it.
And if I need help, there's a dedicated support number, right?
Yep, 855-400-3575. You can always reach a real person.
I'm starting to see the bigger picture here. Regus isn't just providing a workspace. They're creating a whole support system.
You got it.
To help you succeed. But let's be real, location still matters.
Of course.
What's the strategic advantage of this head office location?
It's right in the heart of the UK, close to all the major business districts.
Makes sense. So if you need to be in the center of the action.
You're right there.
But what about those of us who are trying to be more eco-conscious?
Right.
Is it a nightmare to get there without a car?
Not at all. It's easily accessible by public transport. Multiple bus and train routes nearby.
Okay.
Dedicated bike lanes and storage if you're a cyclist.
So they've got the environmentally conscious commuter covered as well.
Absolutely.
But, let's be honest, sometimes you just need a break from work, even in a place as cool as this.
I hear you.
What's the surrounding area like?
You're in luck. Tons of amenities. Cafes, restaurants, banks, gyms.
Oh, nice.
You name it. Right there.
So you can take care of errands, grab a bite without having to go far.
Exactly.
Okay, so they've got the location, the amenities, the eco-friendly options. They're checking a lot of boxes.
They are.
But I'm curious, with all this emphasis on flexibility and community, does it ever feel a bit, chaotic?
That's a fair question, and it's something we should definitely dive into.
Yeah.
They've put a lot of thought into creating this dynamic, engaging workspace.
Mm-hmm.
But there are always two sides to every coin.
Interesting. I'm definitely curious to hear more about that.
We'll get into it. Now, you mentioned before a possible downside to all this flexibility and the focus on community
Right.
at Regus.
What did you mean by that?
Well, while it's great for some, all this variety and these networking opportunities,
Sure.
it's worth thinking about whether this kind of environment is really for everyone.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Imagine someone who really thrives in a more traditional, structured setting.
Right, more of a routine.
Yeah, all the hustle and bustle,
Yeah.
the constant social interaction.
Sure.
It could be a bit much for some people.
Yeah, I get that. Not everyone's a social butterfly.
Exactly.
And some people just crave that quieter, predictable work environment.
Yeah, right.
So for those people,
Right.
the very things that make Regus so appealing, the open spaces, the buzz of activity, could actually hurt their focus.
Exactly.
It's a trade-off.
You've gained flexibility, community, but maybe you lose some of that quiet and stability.
Yeah. Makes you think about what's really important to you.
Absolutely. What works for one person might not work for another.
Exactly. So does Regus, acknowledge this potential downside in the source material.
They kind of touch on it.
Okay.
Remember their emphasis on choice.
Right.
They encourage community, but they also have those quiet spaces.
No, right.
For focused work.
Okay.
So it seems like they understand that a truly flexible workspace needs to work for all sorts of personalities.
That's good.
Work styles.
Yeah, it sounds like they're aware of the potential issues and trying to, find solutions.
Absolutely.
But I'm still wondering, for someone who's used to that traditional office, with their own desk and their own space, wouldn't it be tough to adjust to all this movement and change?
It could be. But look at it another way.
Okay.
This kind of environment could actually help people grow.
Really?
Push them outside their comfort zone a bit.
What do you mean?
Well, think about it. Navigating a more fluid workspace.
Yeah.
You need to be adaptable, manage your own time, communicate well.
Okay.
You have to set your own boundaries, make your needs clear.
I see.
It's like training for the future of work.
So you're saying this is like the future of work in action.
It could be.
It's not just about having a place to work.
Right.
It's about preparing for a work world that's constantly changing.
Exactly. And the people who can thrive in this kind of environment, they'll be ready for anything.
That's a good point.
And that brings us back to Regus's commitment to excellence.
Okay.
They're not just adapting to the future of work. They're actually shaping it.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
It is. They're experimenting, pushing boundaries, creating spaces that challenge how we think about offices.
I'm impressed, honestly. They've built a workspace that's both high-tech and human-centric.
It's a tough balance.
It really is.
They're meeting individual needs, but also responding to how work is changing.
So they're like a microcosm of these larger changes happening in the world of work.
It's fascinating to see how they do it.
It is. You know, we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
The pros and cons of their flexibility, how important choice is, how all this impacts different work styles.
We've also talked about their commitment to customer service. The strategic location.
Right. Their efforts to be sustainable and accessible.
You mentioned earlier that Regus is like a microcosm of the future of work.
I did.
And I find that so interesting.
It's an interesting case study, that's for sure.
But I'm also a little apprehensive, to be honest.
I understand.
What does this kind of workspace, with all the flexibility and change mean for the future of, well, everything?
That's the big question, isn't it?
It really is.
We should definitely explore that further.
Yes, definitely.
But for now, let's just say that the Regus UK Head Office offers us a glimpse into a future of work.
Okay.
That is both exciting and potentially challenging.
I can't wait to dive into that. Let's do it.
Okay, so we're back, and I'm still thinking about the future of work. You said before the break that Regus UK is kind of like a preview of what's to come. What do you mean by that?
Well, look at what we talked about. Flexibility, technology everywhere, this focus on community, and moving away from the traditional office. All these trends, they're popping up in all sorts of industries.
So what you're saying is that Regus isn't just doing some weird experiment in their head office, but this is actually...
It could be the future,
a sign of things to come.
They're early adopters, right?
Yeah.
Their approach, it might become totally normal before we know it. Imagine work being less about your desk and more about choosing how you want to work.
I like that part. No more crazy commutes, more time at home, maybe even work from a beach in Bali.
Exactly. But it's not all perfect.
Yeah.
This shift, right, towards flexible work, all this technology, it comes with challenges too.
Oh, I bet. Like what?
Well, how do you keep that feeling of community, of working together when everyone's all over the place? Different time zones even.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's one thing to feel connected when you're actually in the same room. But online, I don't know. Some companies are already struggling with that, keeping their teams tight when everyone's remote.
That's right. And then there's work-life balance. It's a classic problem. When your work life and your home life get all mixed up, it's hard to switch off, recharge. It's like you're always on.
Yeah, and that can lead to burnout, stress, especially if you got a lot going on outside of work already, family, things like that.
Exactly. And then there's the question of, your career. How do you move up?
Oh, that's interesting.
In the old way of working, you climb the ladder in one company. But in this new world, how does that work?
I guess it's less about climbing one specific ladder. It's more like creating your own path. You build up your skills, get experience, and you can take that anywhere.
We might see more project-based work. You build your career by doing different things, different companies, different industries even.
It's not about being loyal to one company anymore. It's more about what you can do, your reputation.
That's right. It's like the gig economy, but for professional jobs.
Interesting.
Which brings up a whole new set of issues, right? Job security, benefits. How do you make sure people are taken care of when all the old rules are changing?
Wow. That's a lot to think about. It's exciting, but also a little scary. All these big changes.
The big shift. But the thing to remember is that the future isn't set in stone. We're creating it right now. Companies like Regus, they're showing us what's possible. But we get to decide what we want the future to look like.
I like that. We're not just passengers. We have a say in how this all plays out. So to everyone listening, if you're thinking about these new workspaces, all this flexibility, ask the hard questions. How will it affect you? How will it affect everyone?
Because the future of work, it doesn't just happen. We create it. Yep. By the choices we make, by the things we do, even by the conversations we have.
What an amazing point to end on. Thanks for joining us today on this deep dive into Regus UK Head Office. We got a real look at these flexible workspaces and what might be coming next. It's exciting and maybe a little bit scary to think about how we'll all work in the future, but one thing's for sure, it's going to be interesting. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep.